does one turn all this into 6 figures worth of hot sauce?
We've doubled our revenue every year.
And the crazy part is you can do it all while working a full-time job.
So I actually work Monday through Thursday, and I get Fridays off, and that's hot sauce day.
In this episode, you get an inside look into how Murder Hornet Hot Sauce is made and bottled from scratch.
Woo! I'm all getting peppered up.
Discover branding secrets that leave your customers tattooing your logo on their body.
We thought that would help us to stand out. It seems to be paying off.
And at last, access the secret to an almost 80% conversion rate at the markets. Ooh, that's good and hot.
And he said, I'm willing to give it a shot, but I'm gonna tell you, it might not do well. Flash forward and we're one of their best-selling hot sauces. I think I'm onto something. This is good.
All right, Kevin, before we dive into making the first batch of Murder Hornet Hot Sauce, tell us the story of how it all began.
You know, this was a pandemic project. We all had a lot of time on our hands.
For sure.
And I've always liked being in the kitchen. I've always liked cooking, but I had time and space to really nail down a few sauce recipes I'd been working on. And one in particular, I kept coming back to this honey habanero sauce. And I added bourbon to it. And I thought, I've never tasted anything like this. And, you know, at that time, you couldn't directly interact with people. So what I was doing is I was bottling up this sauce I made and dropping it off on the porch of my friends and family, just as a way of saying hi, talking to them through the screen door, and you know. And
here's some hot stuff.
Yeah, right. And I was getting text messages back like, hey, this is actually, you know, pretty good. Maybe you're onto something here. Like this is good sauce. And so I kind of logged that away, and months and months later, murder hornets were in the news.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, an invasive murder hornets were spotted in Washington State in December.
And so I'm sitting around a campfire with a buddy at the time, and he goes, man, that'd be like a cool name for a band or a hot sauce, Murder Hornet. And, you know, a light bulb goes off. Like, I've got some hot sauce. I'm a hot sauce lover. If I'm in a store and I see a hot sauce called Murder Hornet Hot Sauce, I'm buying it. And so the gears started turning. I called up a friend of mine from high school who's now a big shot graphic designer. And I had this back of the napkin concept of a murder hornet with a blood drop. And I said, can you do anything with this? And his team sent back just a bunch of different concepts for a label.
Yeah.
And this is what they came up with. When I saw this, I was just like, this has to be a thing. This has to happen.
All right, so we got these trays. Next up is roasting, right?
That's right.
All right, I'll follow you, my friend.
Okay.
Let's get these bad boys in the oven. I would think everybody's roasting their peppers for hot sauce.
Yeah, we're pretty unique in this approach. Not many hot sauce companies are roasting their produce at all. It's definitely an added cost. And we do it because when you roast peppers, it brings out their natural sweetness. It brings in an undertone of smokiness. And so we've done that from the beginning and have stuck to it. It is an added cost. It probably tacks on an extra 10 cents per bottle of sauce.
Really? What was your experience like when you started working with a co-packer? Any interesting stories?
That first day was fire hose of learning experiences. Ordered all our ingredients and came in with all our ingredients to Joseph's facility. You know, he said, that's way too many ingredients. And it turns out I had scaled it wrong, you know, so we had to figure out, you know, how we can make an overflow batch. And we had garlic that was still in the husk, and we were peeling garlic and realized about halfway through that this is gonna take us 2 days. And you know, they sell peeled garlic at Costco. You can just go buy it. You don't have to do this. It was just getting pelted by learning experiences in that first day, and we got it done by the skin of our teeth, but it was a stressful day. And it's been a lot smoother since.
So let's talk about cost, though. What was the initial investment as far as getting started that first day of ingredients, the cost to the co-packer for you? How much was it? 4, 5, 6 grand to get going on
I think all in it was about 5 grand. So we needed labels for the bottles, we needed bottles, we needed ingredients, and then the co-packer cost adds about $1 per unit on every bottle. So all told, it was about $5,000 to make that first batch.
All right, obviously small batching is how you started. For somebody that wants to do the same and they're working from home, but they don't have the 5K like you did, 5, 6K to buy the products and do that first batch with a co-packer. What are some other ways and methods to go about it without such an investment?
Yeah, there's different levels of entry for sauce production for sure. There's something called cottage license where you can get licensed to make a small amount of sauce in your home. There's also commercial kitchens, so you can come in and use a commercial kitchen to make your own sauce, use their equipment, and presumably make as much sauce as you need to make.
Okay. Since you have me as a labor today, I'll do most of the work. So we're taking this over to that table over there in that bin, and then over to what, the grinder?
The blender.
The blender, yeah. This is gonna be the Paul UpFlip batch. Thank you for your help.
There we go.
Revenue-wise, people love this question, Kevin. So give us a picture of revenue from year one to where you are today, and then maybe the different sources of revenue. How many do you have?
Yeah, we've come a long way. I remember in year one, we were excited just to make back that initial investment of around 20K, and that was a success. And since then, we've doubled our revenue every year, if not more. This year, we're looking at around 10K a month. And revenue comes from the sauce, of course.
Yep.
It comes from our
90%, or
yeah, I'd say so. We love coming out with new merch. Our merch is hot at summer markets in particular, so we get a little revenue coming from that as well.
So it's going in like just the way it is, with all the seeds, everything. Is that the key to a good sauce? Just
whole fresh
whole
ingredients.
Pepper. Are others doing it to where they're clearing or getting rid of the seeds?
Some people might clear out the seeds. I like the texture. It makes it, a true small batch hot sauce when you keep the seeds in, and it's just a great consistency, a lot of viscosity in the pour, and it's not watered down. So we like to keep everything in there and put it all in the pot.
So what are some of the biggest challenges, Kevin, that you faced when you first started out this business?
We had success in selling our product directly to consumers, smaller retailers, but those bigger retailers, the grocery chains and whatnot, were a harder code to crack. That really was a matter of just persistence and making the right connections, and being able to kind of get into these bigger box stores has only been a recent success with this business.
So, okay, the big box stores, absolutely tough to get into, but what are some other challenges?
Numerous. Anything but smooth.
Anything but smooth.
Like I said,
that's the entrepreneurial journey, guys. Anything but smooth.
Has been a fire hose of learning experiences.
I don't want to overdo this and turn this into soup. Are we done, Joe?
I think we're good.
Yeah. Well, I know some of the things as far as prep is time sensitive, so what's next? We just grinded that, added some ingredients, and it's going into the cooker. So
these are our freshly ground Fresno peppers.
Yeah, all right, let's make sure we splatter this whole thing. Just nice and low.
Woo! I'm all getting peppered up.
Just gonna probably stir it a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
And so once this is done, what would be the next process? Are we packing it into the bottles as it's hot? Is that the key?
Yeah, it's called a hot fill process. We bring the temperature up to 180 degrees. It kills off all that bad bacteria, and we put it into the bottles at a high temperature, seal it, turn the bottles upside down. It sanitizes them and also gives it that nice pop when you open it up.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Cool. Operating a small business does not come without its aches and pains. But what's more painful, managing all of your invoices, billings, and vendor payments, or say, eating an extremely spicy hot sauce? With Melio's all-in-one online payment platform, you can finally take the pain out of managing your business finances. There's no setup or subscription fees. Your vendors don't even need to sign up to get paid. Melio offers free online transfers and allows you to choose the payment method that's best for you, while making sure your vendors get paid how they prefer. So if you want to maximize your cash flow and rack up reward points by paying your business expenses with a credit card, Melio's got you covered, even if your vendors prefer a check. Their easy-to-use mobile app allows you to approve, decline, and settle transactions instantly from wherever you are. And Melio's seamless integration, by the way, with software like QuickBooks and Xero makes managing your QuickBooks easier than ever. Simplify your bill pay and take the sting out of running your business with Melio. Oh, this is hot. Use the link below and make your first payment and save $100 in fees. All right, guys, Blitz time with Kevin. Let's go with the first question. What is the weirdest customer interaction you've had?
Oh man, there's been a lot of them. We had a guy that came by the booth that was in charge of the team that was responsible for eradicating the murder hornets here in Western Washington.
Okay.
And so at length, he told us about this process, which is very sophisticated and involves drones and tagging the murder hornets,
I've seen that.
following them around, finding their nests. It was fascinating.
Okay.
And so that was a great one, yeah.
That's cool. What's the most bizarre recipe you've ever concocted?
Our black label sauce is pretty bizarre. There's nothing like it out there.
That one?
It's this one right here.
All right.
And you know, we've got black garlic, we've got black lime, we've got pomegranate, we've
Activated charcoal.
got ghost
by the way,
pepper,
in Zoom.
activated charcoal, dates.
Dang.
I mean,
that is
it's
bizarre.
pretty out there, but it's one of our best-selling sauces. It's delicious.
Okay. What does food hot sauce pair best with? Pick one.
Put hot sauce on everything. So,
That's right.
Our best seller is this honey bourbon, and I use this the most out of all four of them. I eat a lot of eggs. I eat eggs in the morning. I put the honey bourbon on the eggs.
Nice.
I eat a lot of grilled cheese sandwiches. I put the honey bourbon on the grilled cheese sandwiches. Anything bread and cheese-ish, it's gonna be great.
Couple more. What's the best business advice you've ever received?
Persistence. Persistence, persistence.
Pays off.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the funniest mistake you made when you first started?
I had some advice that we needed to peel the membrane off of the peppers after they were roasted because that helps with the consistency of the sauce. So in
Makes
the
sense.
beginning, I had friends helping me peel the skin off of roasted peppers, burning their fingers for hours on end until I realized ultimately that we didn't really need to do that.
Last one. What's the favorite way to unwind and chill after a long day?
Oh man, a good IPA, hanging out with the dogs, and just chilling.
Just chilling. All
Yeah.
right, man. That was good.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest retail order to date, dollar-wise?
We had an order back in May that was around 11K, and that was a big deal for us. That was a national grocery chain, and they ordered 3,000 bottles.
That's a pretty good deal. What about your first ever retail deal? How did that come about? Give us the inside story.
We had a couple small kind of local retailers bring us on early, but the one that comes to mind, they're called Made in Washington. And they've got a few stores around
Seen
the
them
area.
before, huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we've been there a couple weeks
we
ago.
love Made in Washington. They are wonderful. But I remember that initial reaching out to them over and over and over again, being persistent.
Being a pest, in a way.
Being a pest, finally getting the vice president on the phone, and he said, Kevin, I love the sauce, I love the branding, I got to level with you. It's at a price point that we've never had success selling sauce anywhere north of $10. And
Oh, wow. Okay.
our whole thing is, it's a saturated field, and we make top shelf hot sauce. So we are separating ourselves by price point and, the ingredients and the quality that goes into that. And he said, I'm willing to give it a shot, but I'm going to tell you it might not do well. Flash forward, and we're one of their best-selling hot sauces, and it's been a wonderful relationship with them ever since.
That's awesome. What's your sauce retailing at their stores for?
They've got it at $13.50 to $14
That's a
bottle.
premium.
Yeah, right. But it flies off the shelves for sure.
How do margins compare between retail and other sources then?
Yeah, as you scale up and get into some of these bigger box stores, the margins are pretty slim. They take a good cut. 50% generally off of your MSRP. And if you're bringing in a distributor to help bring the sauce to those bigger retailers,
they're taking a little cut.
taking their cut as well, anywhere from 10 to 20%. So you really have to play the numbers game.
And then the margins, what would they be after all your costs? Are you operating this business, this particular niche at what, 20, 30%, or is it more or less?
A good margin is
Before take home.
30%. In some
That's
cases,
not bad.
we're up around 40%. We've got good margins, even
is
with
good.
the expensive sauce.
So we're done with the kettle process, right? We don't want to get in the way of Joseph because everything's time sensitive here, right? Once it's heated up, we need to bottle it ASAP.
That's right.
Let's go over to the hopper. And as we let Joseph do what he's doing, let's talk about your monthly overhead right now, Kevin. Where is it at? But before anything else, what does it cost for you to operate?
Yeah, monthly overhead varies pretty widely throughout the year. $2,000 at a baseline just for like subscriptions, insurances.
That's minimum.
We'd get up to around $5,000 during production. As we're scaling up, we're developing packaging for our customers when we ship directly to them. So it's going to vary pretty widely, yeah.
Guys, if you are enjoying this video, take a second to like and subscribe. It will not only motivate our team, but it will help us bring more and more incredible entrepreneurs like Kevin. What's the cost of producing one bottle and how much of it is the label?
Yeah, so today we're making our little Stinger bottles for our little Stinger variety pack. But
Nice.
Our main product here is this 5-ounce bottle, and cost of production is going to depend on the recipe that we're making that day. So it might range from $2.50 to $4 a unit. The label is going to be maybe 20 cents on the bottle. So 20 cents of that $2.50 to $4 is going to be the label. We took a risk in developing this label where our shrink wrap is custom to sort of have continuity with the rest of the design.
That's neat,
And
yeah. Can I take a look?
yeah, most other companies are, you know, it's going to be a black kind of dime a dozen shrink wrap on there. This shrink wrap turns out to be, we learned, it is over twice the amount of the label itself. There's something
No way.
about custom designing this material that turns out to be expensive. So we took a risk, and we knew that was going to be more expensive, but we thought that would help us to stand out on the shelf and kind of draw people's eyes to the product. And I think it seems to be paying off.
I'd like to take a second and thank you guys for supporting and watching UpFlip. As a token of our appreciation, I'd like to give you access to UpFlip's long-awaited free business startup blueprint. If you're looking to start a business, this may be exactly what you're looking for. So head over to upflip.com/gift and see for yourself. How important is branding? What have you learned so far?
Branding is everything, and it's the fun part. And people have really kind of responded to that. I think people are really compelled by the brand. We've had
Any crazy stories?
Yeah, we've had a guy that is one of our customers that got the Murder Hornet logo tattooed on his arm and sent us a picture, and we said, well, you get free hot sauce for life. That's awesome.
Careful now, because
Yeah.
you may get viewers call you and
Yeah,
say,
if you're
hey,
in-
I got a tattoo. Can I get free sauce for life?
Yeah, and we've had a semi-pro soccer team reach out to us and say, we want to put your logo on our jersey.
That's cool.
And we want to just, we think it's cool and we want to use it. And people that walk by the booth at markets, we hear Murder Hornet Hot Sauce. They say it out loud, they love to say it, and then they always follow it up with great branding. And so I think that's a strength of our product. Obviously the sauce has to live up to
For sure.
the name, and if we're gonna charge more for this sauce, then the bottle should look like it.
Well, I'd love to dive in deeper and deeper into the branding side of things, but let's go check out the market where all of this started. So come
do
with
it.
us. All right, well, what a beautiful day. This is the market where it all started, right?
This
For
is it.
These type of events,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
How much do you guys typically make at events like this, markets and so on? Like, what's been the best event so far?
Yeah, it varies, definitely. Farmers markets like this here in Gig Harbor are great for us. They're weekly, they're consistent. We don't pull in as much money, but we can rely on them week in and week out to make a little money. And, so these will be anywhere from $300 to $500 on a given day. We've got kind of one-off events, like summer fests and holiday gift shows that are, bring in a lot more people and are a lot of fun. There's live music, there's good food.
Absolutely.
And at those types of events, man, it's, it can get up to, $5K on a weekend or $6K on a weekend. So,
Not bad.
Yeah.
Now, curious as far as your cost to be here. Is it just the cost of sales or is there an entry fee?
Usually it's about $40 to a farmer's market entry fee. Sometimes they'll take a small percentage of whatever your sales are for the day. The bigger events I'm talking about, you might pay a couple $100, a few $100 just to
Not
get
bad.
in.
Awesome. Well, let's take a look at your booth and then
Yeah.
introduce us to your partners, maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
This is my business partner, Ryan. He's the one that I convinced to join me in this wild venture early on, and without him, it wouldn't have been possible to get this off the ground. No way in hell. Right over there,
We won't bug him because he's selling.
Okay, yeah, Slang and Sauce is Shane, and between the three of us, we kind of manage all aspects of the business, and it's runs like a well-oiled machine.
Now I'm talking to both of you guys. What's your advice to those entrepreneurs who want to start selling at markets, whatever product they have?
Right. I think it's really important to find the right community that you want to sell and vend in. It's really not that hard to get into these types of events, but I would recommend really trying to find that focus group that you're trying to connect with. And in this case, this is our hometown of Gig Harbor, Washington, and it really means a lot for us to not only showcase our beautiful products, but to be here with our people.
Share with us what you've learned so far as sourcing ingredients, ensuring the quality of it. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so it starts with finding the right distributor, and we have a couple trusted sources here in the area, and they regionally source. So we're getting a lot of fresh chilies and produce here in the area, regionally.
What about like the challenges that you guys face as far as sourcing peppers? You know, is there a seasonality aspect to it?
Absolutely. We deal with a lot of specialty peppers, one including ghost pepper, and sometimes they're just simply not available for us.
Oh, interesting.
And so, for instance, last year we had to source out of the Netherlands.
No
you know,
way.
as much as we like to source regionally, sometimes that just can't happen.
Wow.
Also, we deal with smaller companies that help support us in our overall recipe. For instance, pomegranate molasses. We source that from Southern California. They're a small business, so those can present challenges at times, but we just pivot. Sometimes we might have to slow down production and focus on other flavors, and it's just kind of how the ball bounces.
All right, guys, what is your best seller? And talk to us in detail as to why you think it is.
Yeah, what's really unique about our lineup, our catalog of hot sauces, is that we really don't know what's going to sell that day at that market. Every flavor kind of has its own highlight every week. So last weekend it was our green sauce, our mango verde.
Nice.
The weekend before that was our black label, pomegranate ghost. So it's kind of a fun sociological project.
You're saying every city in a way, or every market has its own palate essentially, right?
Yeah.
Precisely.
What's your advice for our audience looking to get into the food industry? And what are some common mistakes you think new entrepreneurs make when first starting out?
Yeah, you know, be bold, be fearless, develop a product that you really like, that you're passionate about, and have fun while doing it. And people will notice that, and they'll resonate with that. As long as you're telling your story through your branding and through your social media, people will follow that journey and really latch on to that. You know, and in terms of, you know, common mistakes, I think right in that line, that same vein is follow through, you know, be persistent. I think a lot of entrepreneurs have an idea and kind of take it to a certain point, and then it gets hard and they give up. And I think you just have to kind of keep pushing.
So you guys mentioned that almost 80%, even more, of customers who just try your hot sauce become your customers. Why do you think that is? What makes a really good hot sauce? What do you think the key ingredient is?
I think that's what separates us as a brand and as a product overall, is that we focus on flavor, consistency, thickness of our sauce. We pack a lot of punch in every bottle that we produce. We're not about weaponizing food. We're not about runny, vinegar, hot stuff. We want a culinary, chef-based product.
Wow. Do you guys want to know what happens when you scale a CPG business like Kevin's? Make sure to check out episode 175, where we do a deep dive into Sour Strips, a $24 million a year business. Take a second to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.